How did Adrian Newey get all the Formula One engineers to remain completely silent during the first shakedown of the AMR26? What exactly is hidden in that rear wing that not only looks different, but defies everything we knew about modern F1? The arrival of the AMR26 to the paddock was not simply the debut of a new car. It was a silent declaration of war. When the Aston Martin truck opened on the Bahrain circuit to reveal the figure of the AMR26 for the first time, something felt different. It wasn't just the aggressive silhouette of the car, nor its matte paint, nor the details of its surface. It was silence. The kind of silence you feel when everyone holds their breath because they've seen something they don't fully understand, but they sense it could change everything. From the first second, the focus was not on whether this car was pretty or not. It was in his form, in its proportions, in its aerodynamic surfaces carved with surgical precision, in the way the sidepods merged with the rear structure, hiding the elements of the new Honda engine almost like a magic trick. And especially in the way that rear wings seemed to be connected to something deeper, something more complex than a simple moving part. The engineers from the other teams, usually confident, began to walk around the Aston Martin pit more often, to look secretly, to send your technical photographers with long-range lenses to capture every angle, every edge, every aerodynamic channel. But there were things they couldn't see, because what really matters in this car is not visible. The context aggravates everything. The 2026 season is the beginning of a completely new era. For the first time in decades, engine regulations and chassis regulations change simultaneously. That means that all teams, even dominant ones like McLaren or Red Bull, are navigating uncharted waters. And it is in this type of terrain where Adrian Newey has always shone. Where others see uncertainty, he sees an opportunity to remake the physics of F1 from scratch. For weeks, the specialized press had been talking about Aston Martin coming with an aggressive concept. But reality exceeded expectations. At the first shakedown in Barcelona, the car barely turned, but even so it left its mark. The cameras captured it moving stiffly as if still tamed, containing something larger. Some thought there were mechanical problems. Others who were simply testing basic systems. But those who know Newey knew how to read between the lines. They were hiding their true card. The most intriguing thing of all is that even in Bahrain, where the car finally rolled with a little more freedom, the engine maps and the more aggressive rear wing modes were not fully activated. No low load modes, no displays of maximum speed on a straight line. The car was not once pushed to the limit. And yet, each sector in which it appeared on the screen made it clear that there was something different in its way of tracing, of rotating, of accelerating. As if you were always one step ahead of the asphalt. The delicate state of maturity that was talked about in inner circles is not a defect. It's a strategy. The car isn't finished because it doesn't need to be yet. Newey did not want to burn stages or show all his cards in the tests. He prefers to validate the car's behavior step by step before unleashing it with all its power. This almost artisanal approach is designed to maximize development throughout the season, because what they are looking for is not just to compete. It is building a new winning cycle from the very basis of the regulations. And this is where the real fear is generated in the paddock. Because the AMR26 is the only car on the entire grid that has not shown anything, and yet it has spread panic. Every curve it traces, every time it activates its hybrid system, every detail of its rear spoiler hints that what is coming is not an evolution, but a revolution. And when that car is completely unlocked, when Newey says, it's ready, then it will be too late for everyone else. In the technical language of Formula One, the term trick is usually a simplification. What for many is a brilliant solution that generates tense, for Adrian Newey it is just a logical consequence of a correct reading of the regulations. Therefore, when people began to talk in the paddock about the trick of the AMR26 rear wing, what was really being said was something else. This wing is not a trick, it is a symptom. It is the tip of the iceberg of a completely different philosophy. At first glance, one might think that we are facing another active aerodynamic system like those that the 2026 regulation allows with greater freedom. A rear wing that modifies its angle of attack depending on the speed or behavior of the car in curves. That's not new. Many teams have developed it, and similar systems were even present in cars for more than a decade. But what Newey has put on the track with Aston Martin goes much further. What sets the AMR26 apart is that the rear wing does not work alone. It is not an independent piece that opens or closes like an evolved DRS. It is a living part of a distributed control system. A system that makes decisions in real time based on the synergy of multiple parameters: cornering lateral load, longitudinal weight transfer, diffuser pressure flow, electric motor torque delivery, and rear tire temperature. All of this is read, processed and used to adjust micro-variations in the position and stiffness of the aileron in tenths of a second. And here is the genius. Instead of thinking of the spoiler as a switch, as a binary device, Newey has designed a system that works with dynamic ranges. The position of the spoiler is not fixed nor limited to a single axis. It can rotate, it can flex under load, it can even adjust its internal torque according to the demands of the aerodynamic flow. All this happens while the pilot does not even perceive it directly. It doesn't activate it with a button. It is the car that decides, based on an integrated behavior map designed from the factory. But this is not just advanced engineering. It is a masterstroke in reading the regulations. Newey understood that the 2026 rules opened a gray area between what is allowed and what is not specified. And in that ambiguity, he found the space to introduce something never seen before. An aerodynamic system with adaptive capabilities, which operates as if it were part of the car's brain. A distributed aerodynamic and structural intelligence, which turns every straight line and every curve into an opportunity to gain efficiency. Rumors circulating in the paddock speak of piezoelectric sensors integrated into the spoiler elements, capable of detecting the load and wind flow in real time. It is also mentioned that there are materials with elastic memory that allow their shape to change due to thermal and pressure variations. None of that has been confirmed by the team, and it likely never will be. But what has been seen on the track, although hidden, is enough to raise concern in all the other technical departments of the grid. The AMR26 spoiler doesn't just fit. Or at least, that's what some in the paddock are already beginning to suspect. If the car data is analyzed lap after lap to adjust the activation ranges, then we would be talking about the first step towards semi-autonomous aerodynamics in Formula One. A step that, if allowed to develop without restrictions, could redefine what we understand as dynamic balance in a single-seater. Furthermore, the system is not isolated from the power unit. This is where Honda comes into the picture. Unlike what happened in his time with Red Bull, where the chassis design often had to adapt to the engine, at Aston Martin, Honda has worked closely with Newey from the beginning to design a package where energy management is part of aerodynamic control. The MGU-K and MGU-H are not just there to recover and deliver energy. They are to synchronize with the aerodynamic flow of the car, managing the torque in coordination with the load needs. This means that power delivery can vary not only for strategic or efficiency reasons, but also for aerodynamic reasons. And this is the critical point. No other team has shown such a deep level of integration between power unit and aerodynamic system. At Ferrari, McLaren and Mercedes there are still layers of separation between engine, chassis and aero. At Aston Martin, Newey has managed to make these elements communicate as if they were a single nervous system. What started as a simple suspicion of a different wing has become the center of all the technical conversations in Formula One. Because if this system is working as it is believed, then we are no longer just talking about who has the best car, but about who is thinking beyond the limits of the regulations. And in that field, Adrian Newey has always been the only one with a clear map while the others walk blindly. Surprise in Formula One is never given by mere appearance. For a car to wow engineers, technical chiefs and drivers alike, it has to do more than just break stopwatches or look different. It has to break concepts. And that's exactly what Adrian Newey's AMR26 has done. He hasn't won a single race yet. He has not dominated any classification. But he has already achieved the most difficult thing, causing technical panic in rival teams. The amazement that the AMR26 arouses does not come only from the active spoiler, although that is the most visible element. What is really disturbing is the combination of silences and signals. All teams have access to certain shared data. Maximum speeds, split times, delta of curves. What they are seeing does not match what they expect. Because the Aston Martin is not activating its qualifying maps, nor its aggressive ERS delivery modes, nor is it running on particularly light fuel loads. Despite this, the car generates intermediate times that should not be possible in standard conditions. The AMR26 doesn't just defy engineering. It challenges the confidence with which the other teams thought they had interpreted the rules. And in a sport where tenths are worth millions, that insecurity is the worst enemy you can have. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.